I'm John Carl Morgan. Welcome back to this installment of Voices in Cloth. I'm joined today by Rookja, who is, I think, our furthest away contributor to the project. Rookja, lovely to have you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, John. How are you doing?
Very good. Whereabouts are you based?
I currently live in Houston, Texas, in the USA. And yeah, I'm a local. I
How
love
long
it
have you
here.
been there?
I've been here for 11 years now.
Wow, doesn't
So
it go by
uh,
quick?
I know the kids just grew up like that.
And of
And
course, all the quilters in South Africa are going, oh, you're in Houston. Do you get to go to the quilt festival? Are you an active quilter in the area?
yes, I am. I go every year to Houston International Quilt Festival. In fact, I'm part of two local guilds. The bigger guild is festival invites us every year to host the Learn to Quilt booth. So for the past few years, I've been volunteering there in the Learn to Quilt booth. And last year, I think we call quilting angels at festival. So I could touch the quilts. It was
With a white
awesome.
glove.
With the white
With a
glove, of
white
course.
glove.
Yes, definitely. With the white glove. But awesome, awesome experience.
In the
Yeah.
UK, we have quilting angels as well, and it's always a
Yeah.
very funny story that whenever you even attempt to touch a quilt at the festival, a quilting judge will appear with their white gloves and smack you with them.
No, they gave us. They're very organized here. We allocated a glove, and we only allowed to touch it.
It is
Obviously,
very special because I
yes.
volunteer here to hang the quilts. So that
Hmm.
is a great privileged position where they literally arrive in these hundreds of bags, and then you've
Yeah,
got to hang them on the wall, and it's really good fun. But it's such a different way of looking at the festival when you do it from the back end.
it is. Behind the scenes, it is.
I can tell you a little secret, and I'm pretty sure she won't mind if I do this. Have you heard of Claire Wallace?
I think
So,
so. Yeah.
so Claire is a really big South African quilter. And I actually was in the category that I was able to hang her quilt. And
Ah,
I asked my friends who were with me, saying, will you do a fun video for me? And we actually we screwed the quilt onto the wall the wrong way round. So her back was fucked in. So I screwed it on the wall and I
you
put
mean
the pins up and I
it was
did a video.
it was so good. The back looks so because I've seen quilts like that. The
Hers are
backs.
amazing.
I don't blame you.
But it was just the way that I sent it to her and said, oh, I love your quilt. I hope I hung it right. And sent
Uh-huh.
the video.
Immediate reply.
Well, the great thing is she was out riding. So it took about 3 hours for her to see. And I said, oh, too late. The hall's closed now. Oh, well. And for clarity, I hung it the right way round and she came second in her category, in the modern
Oh,
category. So,
excellent, excellent.
so how did
Yeah.
you come to quilting? Were you a quilter before you went to Houston?
No, I do. I used to live in Sasolburg and a very small quaint town in the Pearl Triangle. And, back then we used to go into the libraries to borrow books back in the day. So the local, the library, public library in Sasolburg hosted I would call it like an airing of the quilts. That's the first time I actually saw. Fascinated. But back then in South Africa, it's not easy to get into quilting. It's not. It's much more available now, but back then it was. So when I came to Houston and I met a local, an expat, South African expat, who was really into quilting. She's really good as well, and she kind of like, no, you have to take up quilting, and I was like, okay, let's do this. So she kind of started me, on my journey. So I'm very grateful to her. But yeah, it's everywhere. It's very prominent here in Houston because
Because the shops themselves are
yeah,
colossal.
we just had a shop hop of just Texas. I mean, there were over 30 just in Texas.
And
Amazing.
those are just the ones that took part. There's still other ones that don't take part.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's quite lots of fun.
It is.
Lots of fun.
So what was your first quilt project?
I actually started doing a lot of machine embroidery.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first quilt actually was a embroidered panels. I had embroidered these African ladies, And I had just learned to make flying geese, and I had put some flying geese borders around these embroidered uh, pieces. And it was my first quilt. So if you look at those flying geese now, don't judge me too harshly. They're a bit wonky, but I love it. I love that quilt. I still have it. It's my first completed project. So I love it. Just embroidered African ladies, 4 of them. Like
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you make quilts for other people? Do you make for yourself?
Very rarely for myself, mainly for gifts. I try not to go bigger than lap size or crib size because I quilt on my domestic, and it's very hard to quilt bigger than that. You need a long arm. And so very rarely do I make really big quilts. In fact, I don't think I've made bigger than a twin size. And that I had long arm quilt anyway. But mainly gifts for friends having babies and grandkids, and for my girls, obviously, smaller ones. I'm hoping as I grow older and more time, I could make some nice big ones. Invest in a long arm.
American quilts are colossal. Their quilting quilts are 100 inches square for a beginner.
Oh. And to hang them, we have to put extra fabric on the floor because they're so massive. They don't fit on the pipe and drape. So as high as we can get them, they're still not high enough. We add extra fabric on the bottom of the floor so the excess can hang. You're right.
It's incredible.
Everything is bigger in Texas.
In Texas. What would you say has been your biggest quilting inspiration?
I think the year that I arrived, that friend of mine, Moreno, she took me to my first quilt show, which happened to be the Houston International Quilt Festival.
Was that your first quilt show?
That was my first quilt show.
Have you ever done another quilt show?
I go every year. I go for like 6, 7 quilt shows a year. They're quite popular locally. I'm part of 2 guilds. My smaller guild, we had our quilt show this weekend that passed, Friday and Saturday. I was there. And the bigger quilt guild, Greater Houston, they are having their quilt show in February. And those are just the guilds that I'm part of. And so I'm very active in them. I do a lot of publicity and stuff for them. And yes, hanging off the quilts and volunteering at the, behind the scenes. But I also go for other guilds. There's many guilds just in my surrounding area, lots of guilds. So I get to go to a lot of quilt shows, but obviously Houston International Quilt Festival is massive. And I go every year. And I've been every year except, I think COVID year, they canceled, but I go every year. But that was my first quilt show. So talk about inspiration. They are just phenomenal. Like art. I had to look closer. I thought it was art. I'm thinking, oh, it's little pieces of fabric. And you don't know the different techniques and the applique and the, raw edge. And then you have collages and seams, and it's just, wow.
It is incredible. It really is. The one who won last year Best in Show, those tiny little squares, were they squares and squares? Those teeny tiny FPP pieces?
Monkeys in my hair. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about that. I dropped that quilt.
You what?
I dropped it.
No!
And a friend who was there, she videoed me dropping it, and she shared it with all the quilt, and I was like famous for 5 minutes because I was picking it up to show the back, and it fell off the pipe and drape, and they're like, oh, the police are coming to arrest you now. I'm like, oh, it is phenomenal.
Are we allowed to include that in?
Of course. There's video evidence of me picking it up after I dropped it.
But the workmanship in it, and she was so awesome. She was such a fabulous maker.
I didn't get to meet her, but apparently she was very humble about it. Because as quilters, we see all the little blood, sweat, and tears that go into the minute details of that. And if you look at it closely, I mean, there's something you could spend hours trying to find all the little goodies. It's amazing. It is amazing.
No, they are incredible. So tell me, what brought you to the Voices in Cloth program?
I heard about the South African Quilt Festival. I come to South Africa every year during the summer, which is for Texas, for the US, June, July. I'm always in South Africa. And so I was, oh, it's in South Africa, it's in Pietermaritzburg, because Durban is my hometown. And I thought, I need to go. And so when I got onto Facebook and I started to follow them, I think I saw one of your videos, and it was, I'm a quilter, I'm South African, I could do this.
I can do this. I can do this.
I can do this. Yeah, that's fun.
And are you going to make it out for a festival this year?
Yes, I'm there.
Brilliant. A whole week?
No, I will just come and visit for a day. I wanted to try doing one of the classes, but it's an hour's drive from where I live, so it's. But I'll definitely come to see the quilts and meet some local quilters. Yeah, I am actually part of a guild in South Africa as well, a local guild.
Yes.
Oh no, just the one in the South Coast in Durban. Amazing quilters. No, Cottage Patch. Cottage Patch. Yeah, and in Amanzimtoti. Really, really talented quilters in that group. Really amazing.
Talented quilters all over the place in South Africa. It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. And you know, I'm at a disadvantage because when they hear I'm from America, they have this misconception that I must be really good, award-winning, and I'm not. I'm pretty average. They are really talented. They are amazing, very passionate about their
Well, I don't think there's anything average from what I'm seeing so far. So you're on a good track with that. So tell us a little bit about your piece.
Well, like I said, I wanted to represent where I am right now. I live in Texas, and growing up in South Africa, I remember the song, The Yellow Rose of Texas. So it's like resonated with me. I have to make a yellow rose. And so I thought, oh, we'll just call it The Yellow Rose of Texas, because that was the song that I grew up with. But I like it. And in the back,
I remember it as well. So I grew up in Springs on the East End. But I remember it as well, but I don't remember why it played so much.
I just remember that singing it. It's about a beauty, a woman. Ooh. And so I love that song. I have to go and research it.
As I Google now to find out if I'm all professional knowing who sang the song.
Yes, The Yellow Rose of Texas. That's what I grew up, knowing The Yellow Rose. And of course, there was that TV show, Dallas.
Oh, yes, Dallas.
Yes, Dallas.
So the show, it was sung by a guy called Don George.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Johnny Desmond sang it.
Is he a country singer? I don't know whose version we heard, but
Willie Nelson did a version of it as well. So I don't know. It just feels like, because I felt like it was really.
I think it's a folk song. I think it's a local.
But it just feels, because I remember it as well. So the fact you're remembering it, we weren't that far apart from one another.
No, I don't think so.
I feel like it was even played on 5FM a lot, not just
Could be. Could be. If I heard it, it could only have been on radio. I can't imagine it playing in my Indian household. It could have only been on 5FM or East Coast or something. I don't know what we listened to back then. Yeah.
Gosh, isn't that going back?
Yeah.
I'm 29. I'm 29.
You're only 2 years older than me, John. We good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so.
Do you think, having been in South Africa, there's a difference between South African quilters and perhaps your quilting friends in the US?
I think what South Africa lacks is history. Here, quilting, the history of quilting, and they're very passionate about promoting it in schools and in their local, like their churches and their local organizations. It's all about not just the art, but also the history. And at festival, the school kids come, it's a field trip, and festival allocates them a dossier so that they could take these kids around and show them it's not just sewing and fabric, it's art, it's history. And I think that's what we lack in South Africa. But I think it'll come in time, maybe some history, because we have African quilts as well. You know that we have a version of it. So it's all over.
It is.
It's
but if it
everywhere.
I was in Stellenbosch 2 years ago for the festival there, and they had the Sarah Dreyer quilt there. And that was extraordinary. And, I didn't know that type of quilt existed in South Africa because you don't hear about it. And I think you're saying it's a really interesting point.
We had a speaker talk to us about Native American quilts. Profound. And then I heard a speaker talk about quilting in India, and then quilting in Japan. And for a long time, I thought quilting was American and Australian and British. And then I'm hearing that, no, they are cultures that predate these countries. It's phenomenal.
Because for me, it was the fact that in Japan, that the firefighters, and we're talking 400 or 500 AD, they use quilting techniques to protect themselves while fighting fires.
And to douse them, yes.
Mad.
Yeah.
But I do think, but I think Americans are really, really good at promoting themselves and promoting. They're really good at it. And I think we need to learn from that in many ways.
I think so. But something for my South African quilting friends is that, I mean, with their, their resources that they have, they do an amazing job with what it's limited. Let's be honest. They do charity, and they're making charity quilts and for communities. And I am just amazed at what they do with what they have. There's big love in South Africa, and the quilters there. They're lovely. I love those quilters. They're really nice.
So the free spirit of them is the way they give so much of their heart, their soul, their time, their fabric. And I always find it so inspiring when I go back and you see all the work that they've done. And it humbles me because I don't have the time. So I'd rather write a check so that I can fund other people who don't have the money to do it. And I know but it's that synergy works, because then they've got the money to do more. When they actually, it just gets
helps.
Anything you can do.
It helps. It does. I go for a short period and I help with whatever community work they're doing, pet beds, or I try and help. But they're actively involved in their communities, which is very admirable. I really admire that about them. The local quilters, But as well, I do a lot of charity sewing, a lot of community work for the local animal shelters and women shelters. And, there's a project called the Linus Project for first responders when they go to tragic scenes, and there's little kids. So they have like a quilt for them. And it's really, there's a lot. Quilting is not only a hobby and what you do to pass the time. It's a feel good when you do, I think, community work. I love it. I love doing community sewing and charity quilts. It's massive everywhere.
It is. And there's so many different incredible charities. I know one of the projects a friend of mine's involved with, they take old wedding dresses and they make quilts.
They make quilts
for the babies that have passed away.
The premature. They make them like gowns.
They do.
I can't do that. I'm too sensitive.
No, I think that it takes a special type of person to
I'll just cry.
I
couldn't either.
I just watched Jeremy Clarkson's new thing on Amazon, and the piglets died in the 4th episode. I was wrecked. I needed an hour to recover. It was just, I'm not built for that. I think all of us have different skills in our lives. That is not for me. Definitely not.
I hear you.
Who do you find inspires you in your quilting world? Because you're the heartbeat of it all.
Quilters, in my guilds itself, they are award-winning quilters in my local guilds that I'm a part of. But when I was starting quilting, Jenny from Missouri Star Quilt, I know it sounds very basic, but her videos, her YouTube videos really, really inspired me. And, I was very fortunate in that I got to meet her a couple of years ago. And you know how she comes across in her videos, like warm and she is exactly like that in real life. She was so humbled that I adored her so much. She was like, oh, she's beautiful. But locally in Houston, there are a couple of designers. One is Sarah Ruiz, and she is an aerospace engineer. She works for NASA. And if you look at her patterns, the collaboration between her creative and her analytical mind, her patterns are phenomenal, very, very geometric, and so I really like her patterns. You need to allocate time and focus. And then on the other scale, there's another local designer called Glenda Wild, and her patterns are more beginner friendly. I did a couple of workshops with her. You could finish it in the class. Simple, but visually very nice, very contemporary, very modern. So those are a couple of designers that I like and that I'm inspired by. And then, of course, sure, Shannon Brinkley and Laura Heine. That's like a one and done for me. I wouldn't do it again. But yeah, I'd like to attempt at least one of each person's quilt at least once. But I'm a very simple quilter. I like my half square triangles and jelly rolled and charm pack quilts. I'm very, very simple. I like
simple,
those.
you're easily pleased and you found what you like, and that's the main thing.
I do, and even applique. I like to applique, and but I also like to challenge myself. What I'd like to try is a collage. So I'm not there yet. I don't think I'm at that level, but eventually I would like to try a collage quilt. That's
Have
for
you
me.
heard of a designer called Nicholas Ball?
No.
So have a little look. He wrote a book called Inspiring Improv.
Okay.
And now Nicholas is a friend of mine. He's a really amazing, amazing quilter. And he's written 2 books. Inspiring Improv, I think, is one of the most brilliant books. It is so cleverly written, really, really informative. And he does a lot of tutorials and videos online with a company called Crafty Monkeys as well. So have a little look at him because he does a lot of improv quilting, which if you want to do a collage quilt and you're interested in something new, you might want to have a look at his triangle quilts, because his big show at Festival of Quilts a couple of years ago was a hillside effect with all these little houses as triangles with this. It's stunning. It is absolutely incredible. So have a look at him because he's a really nice one to try with. And the book itself is more than enough. Otherwise, Crafty Monkeys sell his classes as well, which is really good. Because I know Nicholas and I know how he is such a nice man and he's incredibly nice to look at as well, which is very helpful. I think it's always important to promote people you know that are very good. It's harder to do when it's people you know that aren't good, but Nicholas really is. So.
Is good. You should go check out Sarah Ruiz.
I'm going to, as you said that, I was sitting on my phone typing it into Google. So that's the
yeah, she is phenomenal, I think, personally.
Oh,
yeah.
So what's next for you in your quilting journey?
Currently, I am trying to get I'm trying to gather myself because I'll be leaving for South Africa in a few weeks. As soon as my kids are done with college and school, I'll be making that journey. So I'm trying to gather some quilting supplies because I have a machine in South Africa as well, a simple one. So I'm going to try and get some quilting done while I'm there, but I haven't really have like a project, so to speak. I have some kits that I may bring down, but I'm trying to gather, I have to be very careful because space and weight is an issue. You would know.
I do, yes.
So that's where I am. But I'm not currently working. I kind of slow down at this time of the year because I know I'm going to be traveling and I don't want to start and leave something, basically. I hate it. It'll sit in my mind. I'll never enjoy myself in South Africa. So yeah, I'm not having any current
No,
projects.
no, that's brilliant. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to say?
I don't think so. I'm pretty simple. I do very basic stuff. I'm not like I said. I know the local South African quilters who are in my guild, really so talented, and I wish they had access to more resources. I can't imagine what stuff they would put together if they had access to, more stuff. But there are people like May Jean. I really like May Jean. I've taken a few of her
Adore
workshops.
Megan. She
She's
is so
adorable.
stunning.
And she's got this beautiful home out in Gillets. I've taken a few of her workshops just because I want to do like local stuff and be with local people. So she's very good. I think I saw she's bringing in some Tula Pink and stuff. So yeah, it's getting there. South African quilters are getting there. I
And
think
they
we're gonna
are, and
hear.
I think when you've got people like Meijin able to bring that forward and just try and try
Mm.
and try, it's impossible for you not to be excited for it.
Good things are coming to
And very
for
much
South
so.
African quilters. Yes,
Very,
and I'm
very much
excited to
so.
see the dress at festival. I've heard about it. I have a lot of British friends. I'm part of a huge international community here, and a lot of British ladies, and they were all. Some of them were jealous because I'm going to get to see this dress before them, and I said I'll take lots of pictures and videos and flex when I'm there in South Africa. So I look forward to seeing that dress.
No,
And
it's amazing.
you are a foundation paper piecer.
I
I see.
love my FPP. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Not a fan.
Not me. And what's ironical is that my Yellow Rose of Texas is foundation paper piece.
Wow.
And you have the third attempt.
Oh, wow. What
Because
happened to the other two?
the first one was a groot gemors. It was a lelijke ding. I have no idea what I was doing there. And I've taken a workshop. I know how to do it. I know the technique, but when you physically sit down to do it. And yeah, and then the second one I made went much better, but very bad fabric choice. It looked very washed out, very bland. And I said, no, this is not me, because I'm a very bright person. And then I said, I went for the craziest fabrics I could find.
Gorgeous. You've done an
Bright,
amazing
bright.
job.
And so the third one, I was like, yes, this is it. So I can do it. Yes.
You did do it. You nailed it. You knocked it out.
Do I like to do it? Not really. But yeah, one day I'll get there. I think it's patience. And I'll eventually get there where I'll be patiently. I'm a chain sewer.
But the other side of it is, even if you don't, it doesn't matter. You found a niche that works for you. You don't need to be pressured into something that doesn't work for you. You found a niche, it works for you, enjoy it.
And you are also coming for the show. You're giving a class
I
there.
am. Well, on the 2nd of July, if you're free, do you ever, I know Margate's a massive track for you, but I'm doing a talk at the Hibiscus Guild.
Oh,
at the Margate Retirement Village of Happiness. So I'm doing a talk of my quilting journey, and I've got 55 of the ladies there, of which 18 contributed quilt blocks.
Oh, wow. So July 2nd isn't that close to
2 days before?
Yeah. July 2nd. Well, you will be in the South Coast. You are welcome to come and visit me and have tea or coffee or a meal.
I'm assuming your WhatsApp will work, so I will ring you as I'm coming past and say, come on, I haven't been to Toti in years.
It's great work. And you know what? Kudos to you for I know it's a lot of work and you're a business person and quilting takes up so much of your time. So for you to set aside time to do this, I think it's wow, well done. Congrats. Well done.
It has been, without question, the best thing I've done in the last 10 years.
Really?
I can't tell you how inspiring it is to talk to every quilter and to talk to people outside of South Africa like yourself. You're left with constantly being inspired, and the stories are incredible. Like we did one today, a young girl had lost her grandmother who taught her how to quilt, and she was in tears over it, and then it was just such an emotional thing, and it's become so emotional. So being able to share that with people's lives and share their lives with others, it's a humbling job, and I'm just so privileged to be able to do it.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you did it. I'm so
I'm
glad that you're
exhausted.
giving exposure to
Look,
the
I'm
South African
exhausted.
quotas.
I can't deny.
I would imagine back-to-back Zoom meetings. Yeah.
I know. You're my ninth one of the day, and I'm then having a break.
Uh, Grab something to eat and
Exactly. I literally just
freshen
ate a
up.
little piece of bread because it was my breakfast, and I've realized it's 3:30. I've not eaten anything. So thank you all so much for joining us, Ruqaiya. Thank
You
you for
are
joining us
welcome.
all the way from Texas.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it. I love this whole collaboration. It's a
Thank
great,
you, and I can't
well
wait to come
done.
and see you in Texas. I really want to come and see the Houston.
You are welcome. I'm here. You should come to festival, one of the best quilt shows in the world.
Wow.
International quilters, beautiful quilts and vendors from all over. This is your place. You should be here in October, November.
Soon,
Certainly,
soon. I just need the air
certainly.
miles.
That's always a damn.
It is, it
Always a
is.
always, yeah. Okay.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so
Well,
much all for joining us, Ruqaiya. Have a
thank you.
fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Catch up with you all soon next time. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Hi, my name is Rookja Goolman, and I live in Houston, Texas. And I made a quilt for the 100 Voices Challenge called the Yellow Rose of Texas. And I wanted to take part because I am proudly South African and I love quilting, and I'm very excited to be part of this. And thank you to John for making it possible. Thanks.